Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Drivin with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and the Mets opened up last night a three-game series at home against the lowly San Francisco Giants in hopes that the Mets could turn things around, both because they were at home and because they were playing, as Keith Hernandez would call them, a second division team. That was not to be last night. The Giants won by a final score of 9-3. The game was an awful lot closer than the final score. Of course, the Giants were able to score 6 runs in the top half of the 10th inning, and the rest, as they say, is history. I want to talk about what happened last night, Noah Syndergaard's performance, Pete Alonso's historic night, and a couple of other things going on surrounding Mickey Callaway and his future with the Mets. The best thing about last night's game was the fact that it ended before midnight. That was an absolute welcome change compared to the last week of baseball. On Monday, I talked about how exhausted I was, and I really was. The West Coast really took it out of me. I can't imagine how the Mets themselves felt after that trip, and I really did have high hopes heading into last night's series opener with the Giants. And, things got off to an expectedly slow start with a guy like Bumgarner on the mound. That said, though, the Mets had ample opportunity early in the game to put some pressure on Bumgarner and to get some runs early. And credit to Bumgarner, he made the pitches he needed to make, and the Mets grounded into double plays and got themselves out of scoring opportunities a couple of times early in the game. The Giants ended up scoring 2 runs against Noah Syndergaard, who, by the way, was actually pretty good last night, to the extent that he kept the Mets in the game. He certainly wasn't vintage Noah Syndergaard, striking guys out left and right. He still seems to be missing that out pitch, and that's a big problem, and it's not just for Noah. It seems to be for this whole staff. They just seem to struggle so much when they get to a 2-strike count. They just cannot seem to put anybody away. And last night, Giants hitters were just fouling off ball after ball after ball. So in any event, the Giants ended up with a 2-0 lead until Pete Alonso put the Mets on the board with his 20th home run of the season. It's a historic home run for Alonso. As a rookie, he ties Darryl Strawberry's record from 1983, where he hit I think he hit 26 home runs, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. Although I remember them saying it last night on the broadcast that 20 was the number. I really think it was 26 for Strawberry. Maybe I'm wrong, but let's pretend that it is 20, all right? And Alonso tied Strawberry's rookie record for home runs as a Met, which is awesome for Pete. He drove in his 45th run last night as well. He's going to set and hold that record for rookies. But the other number that's got to be in his mind is the number 41, which, as we know, is the Mets' franchise record for most home runs in a season. Right now, Alonso is on pace to hit 56 home runs, and he's also on pace to drive in 124 batters. That's pretty awesome, for a rookie, and good for Pete. So anyway, back to the game. Alonso gets the Mets on the board with a solo home run off of Bumgarner. 2 batters later, Wilson Ramos stays hot with his own home run, putting the Mets in front 3-2. That's in the bottom of the 6th. Of course, Syndergaard comes out for the top half of the 7th inning, pitches to the first 2 batters, records 2 outs, allows a base runner, and Mickey Callaway lifts him. And this is as clear a case of overmanaging as I think I've seen out of Mickey Callaway. I'm not going to say that Syndergaard was cruising, but look, everybody who watches this team knows that right now the bullpen is a complete shit show. So why go to the bullpen earlier than you have to? Mickey did. Seth Lugo comes in. 2 batters later, the game is tied. And if not for a really nice relay throw from Conforto to McNeil to Ramos, who, by the way, almost missed a tag on Evan Longoria, the Giants would have taken the lead right there. And the sucky thing about this is that it cost Syndergaard a win, and it ended up costing the Mets a win. Because as we then know, Lugo finishes out the seventh, pitches in the eighth, and Edwin Diaz comes in to pitch the ninth. It's a 3-3 game. We go to extra innings. Robert Gsellman starts the top half of the 10th inning, is 100% ineffective for the third consecutive outing now. Again, I'm going to put a lot of this on Mickey because he keeps going to the same guys over and over and over again. Gsellman doesn't have it. He pulls in for Hector Santiago, who just opens the floodgates a little bit further. Ends up 9-3. That's the final score. The Mets dropped the first game to the Giants in shitty fashion. And it occurred to me last night. I was texting with my friends, Mike, Jeff, and Steve, and we're talking about just not being a good team. And I never want to admit that. Like, I'm always pretty positive about this team, but I'm wondering if I'm being really stupid about it. And I just need to come to grips with the fact that this 2019 Mets team is just not good, and they're never going to be. And the bottom line for that is they can't get on the same page. Starting pitching is good, bullpen is bad. Starting pitching and bullpen are both good, offense doesn't show up. Offense shows up, starting pitching sucks. Bullpen's fine. They can't get all three heads of that monster on the same track. And it's killing this team. It's killing the season. And in the last 10 days, not even now, the Mets have lost not one, not two, but 3 games they really should have won. And you think about that in the long term of the season, those 3 wins, which are losses now, might be the difference between a team that's good enough to get a wild card spot or make the playoffs or not. And then, as tight as the National League is going to likely be down the stretch, I'm not going to count the Mets out, but I'm really rethinking my thoughts about this being a playoff team, a 90-win team. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen unless they strike gold somehow. You know, yesterday news came out that the Yankees are likely to sign Dallas Keuchel, because of course they are. Craig Kimbrell remains a free agent, but honestly, what the hell difference does it make? I mean, if the Mets were to sign Kimbrell, what difference does it make? He's not going to be ready till July anyway, and by then, at this rate, the Mets will be 12 games under 500. Yeah, that's the way it goes, unfortunately. So last night, after the game, Mickey Callaway comes out and talks about how he wishes he could take that decision to remove Syndergaard. Wish he could take it back. Wish he could have that one back. I wish he could have it back too. I actually respect the fact that Callaway came out and said that, because I think a lot of managers would not have acknowledged that they made a mistake. I like that Callaway did acknowledge it. It doesn't change the fact that it was a mistake, and it's one of many mistakes that he keeps making with this pitching staff. And like I said on Monday of this week, you know, this guy was supposed to be a pitching expert. He came from a pitching coach background, and he is one of the most inefficient managers I've ever seen with a pitching staff. It's insane to me. Does not compute at all. It's as though he were a hitting coach and has never managed or dealt with a pitching staff ever before. It's just insane. But it is what it is, and here we are. Mets are now 4 games under 500. The road trip continues tonight, 7 o'clock. So that's good. Hopefully the game ends at a decent hour again, which was nice. I didn't love extra innings last night, but hey, it was before midnight, so we're getting there. Hoping the Mets can turn things around tonight. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try to stay positive. I'm not feeling it today, though. Gotta say, feeling kind of negative. Feeling kind of beat up right now about this team. But we'll see if they can turn my fortunes around tonight and get me back on the right page, because I don't like to watch this team when I don't believe in them. And I generally always believe in them, even through the garbage years of the early 2010s. I always believe in them, whether I should or shouldn't. No. That's why I watch, and I'm hoping they can flip me back onto the right frame of mind after this evening. So until tomorrow, I thank you guys for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.